Okay, with Catherine Connor Duff, this little piggy goes to market is the short film. I always want to say to the market, but it's this little piggy goes to market
Oh, yes.
is a short film. OnlyFans person kind of loses her subscribers and goes mad. We talked a couple years ago when you made The Slate, which is a fantastic film. I love that. Like it's just a one shot film. I thought it was a genius film that you made. So you're
Thank you.
back to making short films. Good, congratulations.
Oh, yes. It's a continuation for sure. I've made one per year since the slate. So this is the final in what I call the voyeur series. So the slate started it out, and at the time I hadn't really thought it through. I suppose I didn't really think it through until Paid Deferred, and then I realized that I really like curation. I'm a big fan of Criterion, and I was like, I have been exploring voyeurism for the last couple years, so I'll make it into a trilogy. And starting off with the slate, of course, as you know, that's from a performer's perspective. And how you get the job of modern performance. And then the second film is on set, is called Pay Deferred, and that was last year. And then this year was Piggy, which is of course about uh, technological, I suppose, true modern performance with streaming, and performing for views and on different platforms.
Selling yourself, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which people are making a lot of money, I see, doing it, right? OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've heard, I will say, like, I've heard horror stories as well. I became interested in the subject matter because it's more common than you think, especially in this economy. I have a couple friends who've done it. I reached out and I spoke to some models as well, who do it as their job. I would say it's rare for someone to hit it big, quote unquote, just like going viral is a challenge as well if you're not on a platform like OnlyFans, even on Instagram or TikTok. It's a lot of just continuing to put yourself out there into the void without knowing if anyone's listening or not.
That said, it's almost like 20 years ago when people would have YouTube channels and they would do their just like they're doing on
Mhm.
TikTok and OnlyFans, but then
Yeah.
it doesn't last long. There's a shelf life to it, right? And just like your character in this film, right? You
Yeah.
can't be a foot model for forever, right? So
Right. Well, I think that what I wanted to say with this one was, of course, like I use the sort of sensationalist hook of using a sex worker. But what I wanted to say was definitely deeper than that. I wanted to talk about social media in general and
mhm.
how that's sort of been presented as an option and almost as a must for performers today. And not even just performers, but filmmakers and writers and DPs and everybody in between, where you have to have a presence online and you have to be kind of chasing follower count and like count and all of this and the blue check mark. Um, because it serves as some kind of passport stamp, I suppose, for now, for people looking at you. And I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with it. I do think that the shelf life, as you say, has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. I think that the protection actually for creators or for artists has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And then, of course, what you're trying to attain monetarily has gotten smaller. So
It
the age
is, yeah.
of syndication is over. So a lot of that good stuff from the 80s, 90s, 2000s of syndication is over. And that's partly why people, I think, are kind of freaking out, because that goal that was set for everyone, particularly my generation, 20s, 30s, 40s, I mean, it goes on, but it's kind of crumbling. So I think that people are rightfully getting nervous and saying, oh boy, like, if the pot of gold isn't at the end of the rainbow, are the bumps and knocks worth it? I tend to think yes, because people made art for nothing for hundreds of years, but it definitely makes the situation more complex, and we're in the throes of it. And I
Mhm.
also, with Penelope, with this film, essentially what happens to her at the end, spoilers, but it doesn't go well for her when she shows her face. And it's something that I've seen a lot on the internet where it's almost, a witch burning, and we love to do those here in America, have for hundreds of years. But
Especially, no, especially females, right? Like they
especially
build you
female.
up and they tear you down,
Oh
right?
yes. But it happens with men too. Because there was this film specifically, I was very inspired by what happened to a streamer named Dream, who was a video game streamer, and he wore a mask, and he spoke in his voice, and everyone imagined what he might look like under the mask, and then he took
Yeah.
off the mask, and everyone was like, "Ew," He wasn't a bad-looking guy, but he could never live up to the fantasy of what people had in their heads. So interesting.
Yeah. That's why you don't take off your mask, right? So,
Right, exactly. I was like,
yeah.
"What are you doing? Like, what a fool!" But he wanted people to like him for himself,
Oh,
and
he was an idealist. Yeah.
idealist, exactly. The
So, but
fool.
no, it's true, right? But it's
Yeah,
like, but I want to point out to what you're saying about how like the monetary is smaller and smaller, but it's larger and larger for certain empires like Instagram and OnlyFans, and
hmm
they're making a lot of money because it doesn't matter who is successful, someone's going to be successful, and they're
hmm
making their slice of the pie, right? So,
yeah, 100%. I think that and I thought it was important as well to sort of build up Penelope's brand in the film, and Queen Penelope, and she has everything, very curated for the algorithm. Because the people that tend to curate for the algorithm specifically tend to do better, from what I've seen. But the algorithm doesn't always want real art, and rarely doesn't want honesty or the truth. It tends to react better to incendiary remarks.
of course, yeah.
And that kind of thing, which is it is not just entertainment. It has transcended into other systems of ours, where whoever is the most incendiary and whoever makes the loudest comment tends to gain support. So it's a very I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy, but it's I think
Yeah.
I know.
That movie, you know
Reference it.
what? Something interesting thing about that movie is that
Yeah,
I'm hearing that movie a lot. It
yeah,
came out like 20 years ago, and like nowhere,
yeah,
like didn't really Mike Judge, obviously
yeah,
Office Space, which was a huge hit, but that movie kind of like came and went in a couple of weeks. Nobody really thought about it,
yeah,
and now it's like people are bringing it back and saying,
yeah.
that's the future, right?
They're thinking about it now, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
So it's one of those cliches where he was ahead of his time with that movie, right? So
I think he definitely was. Yeah. Yeah. So,
and this is before social media too, when he made it, right? Like about like,
yeah,
yeah.
early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2005, 2006. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was 2005 it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's done well since, right? So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you're definitely onto something. And there's like, we see a lot of feet, and there's something about the feet too, right? Where like Tarantino would love your film, right? I'm
Oh,
sure you had told him.
yes. Yes.
I'm sure you've heard that joke before.
I
It's
have.
not the greatest
And
joke,
one
yeah.
one can only hope, I don't know if it has
Yeah,
enough blood in it for him, but the feet
yeah.
for sure. I'm covered.
But there's something about that, right? Because I'm sure you had ideas about what to
But
use, I guess,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I think that it's funny because what came first was actually the feet, before the social media critique. They went hand in hand probably a month into the writing process, but initially, I did go out with somebody who had a foot fetish, and I thought it was hilarious, harmless, kink, and very funny. And I immediately wanted to write a comedy about it. And he followed a lot of Instagram models, which I looked on their pages and I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is crazy. This is like a whole industry. Like, and these women have hundreds of photos and, thousands of
Yeah.
followers. And I was like, this is insane. I'd never seen anything like it. And I found his contradiction as well to be very interesting because he was this, very straight-laced kind of finance guy, who was, just not the person you would expect to harbor this. And so I found it to be quite fascinating, and it made me think as well about the quirks that people have. And I love to see what's going on behind closed doors. That's the voyeuristic aspect. And I thought, oh, how interesting that we don't often see, men in that kind of situation as well. So that's kind of how I came into it. And then I was like, I think I actually want to talk, that second layer. I really kind of want to talk about how women are treated online. I want to talk about how we as people are treated online, how we're scrolled past, or how we scroll past people all the time. That's why I finished the movie in the way I did, because we don't get any kind of catharsis on all of these stories
Yeah.
that we see every day. We never find out what happens to those people because we see like millions of them a day. And for some reason, we're just like naturally like okay with that, even though like for so long we've needed a beginning, middle, and end to like finding out about things. And now we're just totally fine just having like a split second, you're scrolling through TikTok, a woman sobbing over the death of her mother, and some tagline on it, and then you're like, oh, that's sad, and then you swipe past. You never know what happens to that woman. Like, she
Yeah.
might die, kill herself. She might like be able
Or
to
they could
process
be just
grief
making it
for,
up, right?
or she could be lying.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you
Yeah.
scroll past and you go to a recipe, and it's like, I don't think it's natural with our brains, really, how they work. And so I'm interested in what that does to us. We don't know yet, but I'm fascinated by it because I don't think it's quite natural.
No, well, I don't, I think we're not, there's nothing natural about it, right? But I don't think there's anything natural in the last 100 years that humans have done, but that's the whole argument, right? But
True.
yeah,
True. We're not
we're,
supposed to lie.
we're not supposed to be doing a lot of things that we're doing, right? So
That's true. That's
I
true.
always say the animals are just so pissed at us, especially because of the unnatural lighting. Think about
Yeah.
like the birds, like all this unnatural light, right? They didn't have like 100 years ago. And they're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on? Billions of years have been around these stupid humans. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
gonna come.
true.
They're gonna come after us. But
The birds.
you're onto
I made
something.
a movie about that.
That's my conspiracy. but
I'm with you.
but I got to talk to you about the making of this film. I absolutely love the way you directed it. I love there's something 70s about this film. I don't know if you watch a lot of 70s films, but
I have, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
got a like yeah,
oh no, please.
it's got like a network vibe to it. I don't know if you've been told that before.
I have not, but I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, like almost like Graduate. Well, even with the shots, like kind of zooming in, zooming out. That's like a
Yeah.
Mike Nichols thing of like I'm going way back, right? But
Yeah, no, I love Mike Nichols. I'm a big fan of the 70s. I would say The Player is another huge, Altman is another big inspiration for me, like throughout.
yeah, he does that too, right? In that
Yeah.
film, right? That voyeuristic kind of like, yeah,
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 100%. So I
yeah,
definitely draw inspiration from the 70s, with this one particularly, Polanski as well, with how it was not with the men, but with her, with Penelope. Steve, my DP, and I looked at Rosemary's Baby, which seems like an odd,
no, I see it. Yeah,
coincidence.
totally.
But
Yeah,
Polanski did something really interesting in Rosemary's Baby, where he filmed her like a voyeur, whatever his reasoning, but because she's being watched by these, this cult. And so he rarely filmed her full on face, like in a lot of scenes. He would shoot her from behind, like the
yeah,
bed,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
sides of her face. And so we looked at that specifically because we were trying to find ways of concealing Penelope's face while still having you fall in love with her and sympathize with her within a very short amount of time. But we couldn't show her face, obviously, because the audience needed to experience her face at the same time that the men did at the end of the film. So we used Polanski as an inspiration. We used Pillow Talk, which is a great rom-com from the 50s, which with Dorsey and Rock Hudson, it was one of the best uses of split screen. And they, cut the screen like this and did all these weird shapes with the split
Which
screen.
was hard to do back then because they were
Yeah.
cutting and splicing the. Now it's like, not
Yeah.
hard, but
I mean, it's not easy,
yeah,
but
not. I was gonna say not
definitely
easy, but easier.
easier.
Yeah,
It's easier.
yeah,
So that was definitely in trying to figure out how do we, because I was very adamant that we needed to watch the men the entire time that they were watching her, because that's kind of the comment of what we look like on a daily basis when we're looking at these people.
And I just like the actors in the film too. You get all kinds of like, especially you obviously have the model in the beginning, and then
Hmm.
you have like kind of like the Uber driver, right? And
Yeah.
the old man, right? Like you're kind of like jumping all these kind of generations and stuff, like kind of like these kind of I can say because I'm a man, they're kind of creepy, but,
Mhm.
but we all have our own stuff, right? But they're
But
like they're
but
into
wouldn't
her.
anyone, wouldn't any, like my point being like why I did that like generation gap was I didn't want to like pigeonhole like one group of people, one age group or anything else because like this transcends like all of that. Like think about how many people like use the internet, use sites like that. If you're not on feet, you're on something else. Like, and so you think about it like how would I look though? Like in a situation like that. I would look creepy, like looking at stuff, like
Yeah,
everyone would. Everyone does. You just don't get to see what you look like. So like that is part of my point as well, was like I wanted to do that full transcendence of age and community and everything else. You have a young guy who's, obviously the Robespierre, the mob starter of it all the way to the guy who's watching for more so than anything sexual, more so a comfort because of his, the death of his wife. So uh,
yeah,
I really wanted to show as well all of the different ways that Penelope is able to be of service, I guess you could say,
yeah,
to these people as well.
yeah. It's like another shout out to a movie. It's got like a Truman Show vibe to it, right? So we're
Mhm.
like, yeah,
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, we're just obsessed with this unknown, right? This person that we think we know, but it's even more interesting because it's just a feat, right? Like,
Right. No,
yeah,
exactly. And I think that we get like, um, when you subscribe to somebody, it's like you used to like turn on your TV or whatnot, but it's not like that anymore because now like, it used to be you took the movie stars and then you would see them, they would be at your house. Dean Martin would be at your house on your screen on the Dean Martin show, whatever. This was very exciting. Now you
yeah,
can hold them in your hands and they're not studio attached anymore. They're, like I said, they're not protected. And I feel there's a sense of like entitlement almost of like we now, it's not the studios that own these people. Now it's us. Like we own them. That means that we can destroy them. And we do a lot, I will say. Like these streamers get in hot water constantly. And there are
yeah,
witch burnings like this all the time. I'm not saying, is it deserved? Is it not? In some cases, perhaps. In other cases, maybe not. I don't know. But we do seem to really kind of enjoy lifting these content creators specifically up and then seeing what we can do with them once they're up here.
yeah. And there's so many different emotions why that occurs, right?
Mm.
Like jealousy or like just pure sexist and woman hating and I mean whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
But there's a lot going on in those emotions, right? Where like people smile at judgment, they smile at like basically seeing someone fail, right?
yeah, no, 100%. And I think that the more we like feed into our current situation that we're seeming to go with, which is competition and comparative. This feeling of comparing yourself to other people, and it's encouraged, I would say, by the apps, by the tech, because you're constantly seeing other people's lives idealized, which is in and of itself a lie, and is in and of itself a fantasy. But then you see all these people that have your fantasy specifically, and then it breeds this kind of like feeling of insecurity or whatever that person feels, insecurity or hatred or jealousy or wanting to see that person fail so that they feel better about themselves or um, you know in terms of Penelope, yes, like wanting her but not being able to have her, so you try to tear her down, or not able to control her because she's not actually, she feels like she's yours, but she's not actually yours. So it can take many forms, but I think at the root of all of it is definitely entitlement.
Yeah. And I love the shot the like where you kind of like you all the men get together and they're all kind of looking like right at the camera in their own kind of
Yes.
opinions, right? And it starts like you're hot and then it's like you're a cunt and you're a whore and like
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of understand men really well. I have to say.
Thank you so
But
much. And I and as I had this conversation with many of of my male actors. I said, like this in particular, like is about, a woman up against a bunch of men. But
Yeah.
it could happen to men as well. Like I mentioned Dream, the vitriol that came at him was from women. And I by no means mean it as a hit piece on men. In fact, I want the audience to, they see the film, they'll be like, oh, it's misogynistic and everything else, but I want them to see themselves in the men too, and not just the male viewers. I want the women to see themselves as the men too. That's why I did that.
Mhm.
I like to break the fourth wall. I do it a lot. But in this case specifically, I have the men looking right to camera in that part that you just referenced. That is to put the audience in her viewpoint, because obviously they're not all doing that in their rooms.
Yeah.
It's how she feels, right? So the audience is suddenly put into how she feels, getting all this, all these comments, the live going completely out of control. And then she then shows herself to us. So then we're put in the position of the male viewers. And we are throughout most of the film with her live stream as well. So, and then when she scrolled past at the end as well, that's us doing that. The audience, like, I want that to be us who is scrolling past her. Because we are like the men I have in this film. We are like her with our.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it, right? So
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But yes, I do like to think I understand men well also.
You do. And shout out to your actress at the end. She's fantastic. That's not an easy performance. And
Yeah.
is she the same foot model as the actor?
Yes. Yeah, that was Sienna. I briefly entertained potentially doing two separate actresses, or three, one for the voice, one for the feet, one for the face.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah,
I could have done it,
yeah,
but Sienna came in and she killed all three. Sienna Salindo, she's fantastic. She's guest starred in a few excellent studio things as well. But yeah, she rehearsed with me for 2 months. That foot scene, it was a choreographed dance, really, more than anything else. And we talked a lot about the character and how she would address her male audience, and how she would hold sway over them, because she's not able to show her face and she doesn't show any other parts of her body. So how does she do it with just the feet and the voice?
mhm,
We talked about familiarity, and calling people by name. We talked about having different voices for different guys. We talked about what exactly she'd be doing with the feet, what kind of playful things she would be doing that would specifically strike a chord with that foot loving community. And then yeah, we did all of her stuff in one day. That's why I like to do rehearsals, because it's cheaper. Because then when it's filming day, then everyone is all set. And so we filmed all of her stuff in one day and ended with the face reveal, and she got it in 3 takes.
but at the same time, she's getting a lot of judgment. Like that's like, was she okay with like she's,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like she's a beautiful woman, but it's like, but she's
yeah,
trying to play someone who's not.
yeah.
You know
No,
what I'm trying?
100%.
Like
Yeah,
she's either being
100%.
looked at by her vanity, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
men
No,
are
it was.
responding to it.
It's that's a good point, and we did have multiple conversations. I told her everything that would be written on the screen. I told her everything that would be happening in the film, and we had multiple conversations about it. And she's a trooper. I would say that Penelope is probably the most thankless female roles I've written, probably, and I give my females a hard time just because I that's how I go through life, and that's how I experience it. I think it's awfully fun until it's not. So that's generally the arc that my females go through. And yeah, she definitely went through the ringer with this one, from the audition process where she had to show her feet. All the female actresses had to show their feet. I made it not mandatory. I said if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to. But unfortunately, that is what's shown for 8 minutes. So we needed to see if they could move their feet properly in the right ways. But yeah, she's a trooper and she's a fantastic actress. And we rehearsed. It's just really a lot of preparation to make sure that that your actors feel comfortable, especially with the subject matter. I was highly cautious, and put it out there from the start of what it was about, what exactly would be expected, and where all the characters end up. So I am just as upfront as possible and then try to prepare them as best as I can. So it worked out, but
So you got the trilogy done. You're gonna put them all together and kind of make them.
I'm going to do a screening at the end of the year in December,
Okay.
of all three of them, the Voyeur series, which will probably be hosted by AFI. I didn't go there, but they have a great theater there, and my DP went there, and several of my collaborators do, and they have a fantastic, affordable theater with 150 to 200 seats. So I'll do something like that. Probably Piggy is obviously in the very beginning of its festival run, so I hope it does well. It's going to Dancing with Films.
Yeah, it's being there next week as this podcast, right? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
exciting.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited. It'll be the first time it screens like with all of us here in LA. So we're stoked. We're ready. And we are at the very beginning. So we'll see what happens with it. But I think that it's interesting. I'm definitely like at a crossroads, I suppose, like of, and I think many filmmakers are. Do you wait it out? Do you like wait it out to try to get it on some kind of like indie platform or whatnot? Or do you release it yourself on YouTube? And that used to be not an option for people. It was like, oh God, I don't want my short film to end up on YouTube. And now, as technically the biggest streamer that there is, and this sort of emphasis on self-distribution, and just getting eyeballs, now that is a viable option and a way to have more control. So I haven't made up my mind about anything yet, and we'll see what happens. I'm working on my feature, which is another.
That was my next question. So you are, I think you're ready for a feature.
I think so. I think that because I didn't go to film school, so I crafted this, like I knew I wanted to make three short films where I wanted to master different aspects of filmmaking. The only thing I didn't get to do was make a film on real film, which, as an old film buff, is a bummer to me. I may.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not.
Yeah,
To say
I'm working.
you're a very young person. I don't want to say your age, but
Yeah,
out
I
loud,
am
but
young.
you're very young.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm at a bit of a crossroads with that as well. And I mean, I probably shouldn't say that in an interview or anything, but nah, I don't care. I have another trilogy which is called the Power series, which is taking down American industry. So the Voyeur series is about taking down our modern entertainment. I would like to turn my attention to modern industries, specifically American, the political, the pharmaceutical, and the technological. But
I don't know if you have enough material for that. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
yeah, right. I don't know if I want to get locked in for another 3 years
Yeah.
on just short films is the thing. So I'm sort of at a try crossroads where I could either do that or I could go for my feature or I could do a little social experiment that is would be very interesting, which is about podcasting. But that would be very risky. So I'll just have to see where the year takes me, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're gearing up to do a series of some kind, right? So uh,
who can say?
that's what it seems like you're talking about, right? So
I'll figure it out in the next couple months. I don't even know. Only
yeah,
the muse knows.
I understand what you're saying because you're very meticulous with
Yeah.
your process, right? Like even the slate, right? Like even though it's
Yeah.
really one shot,
Yeah.
my recollection, it's like it's pretty complicated and it's nuance, right? But so
Yeah. I plan everything like
yeah,
meticulously.
that's what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
you don't just like shoot something and
No.
put it online 2 days later, right? So
No. It's like Piggy had, I don't know, 30 drafts and 6 months of posts. So yeah, no, I don't take anything lightly.
yeah,
So I want to make my next move. And I work a survival job too. I work Monday through Friday. So like my downtime, when I decide to do a project, I want to choose the one that you know, I mean, they kind of choose me, I suppose. But
yeah,
for the amount of control I have over what I choose, I like to choose ones that will be the best usage of my time, that are the most doable. Because then once I go for it, then I, will go through hell and high water to get it done. So just a
Well,
lot.
for the perch that I sit, and I probably watch more short films than maybe anybody in the world. I don't know, but I'm pretty up there,
Yeah,
maybe in the top 10. This is a no-brainer acceptance. This
thank
is a
you.
great short film, and it's like it is right from the first frame. I liked it a lot, and then I didn't even realize afterwards, right, that I remember you did
Yeah,
this other film. There's context to your last film, but then I just didn't. I just took it on its own merit, right? And it
yeah,
was just like fantastic. And I was like, yeah, this is what's going on now, but it's also well done. It's like a well done film. Nice sound design too, I gotta say. So
yeah. Marco
keep
Cordova.
working with those
He's
people. Yeah,
Yeah, no, shout out to
yeah,
Marco. He's because I had it all. Steve and I were like, okay, this is how it looks, and then we shot it, and then we came to post, and I was like, oh God, what do $5 sound like though when they're all playing it at one time, you know? So meticulous and sparse. Verma, composer,
yeah,
phenomenal. How do you score? How do you then score those $5 when they all have
yeah.
competing emotions? What character do you bring to the forefront of the emotional aspect? So yeah, no, a killer team. I've built over the last couple of years, and th're with me, and we're riding to the top and taking down those executives.
I don't know what you're thinking about distributing because I know that you only have. I know it's expensive, and
Yeah,
but this film would play really well in Europe. I don't know if you thought about that, but this has got some.
I've thought about it. I
It's
mean,
got Europe written. It's got Europe written all over it. So they love
yeah.
this kind of American kind of like perspective film.
Yeah. I can only hope so because I know that a lot of the European festivals have gotten very like clogged with celebrities. So I can only hope. It's difficult nowadays to get into one of those prestigious
Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
yeah. But
Well,
thank you.
we'll do whatever we can to help. I think it's like we got Dances with Films, great festival. So
Yes.
you're on your way. Whatever we could do to help promote it, it's fantastic. Yeah, make your trilogy at the end of the year. Put them all together, and then I like what you're doing on your website. I know you don't got that many followers yet, but you're with your
Yeah.
Instagram. You're making your videos of you're making of. This is a whole kind of distribution package for your YouTube channel that you can kind of do as well in the future, right? Kind
Yeah,
of,
I've thought about it for sure.
yeah.
But I mean there's so many different avenues right now, so it's just a matter of
No, I get it. Yeah.
observing for a long time and longer than anyone thinks. A lot of people jump, jump, jump. I observe first before, because then once I make my move, I really fucking mean it. So I am still in the process of observation. But thank you. And I love highlighting a lot of the Piggy promotional campaign on Instagram that I've done has been highlighting my wonderful cast and crew members and doing little interviews with them.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
smart. Yeah.
adored doing. I love doing it, and
Yeah.
they're also wonderful. So I'm glad you like it.
All right. Well, you're on your way. I can't wait to see your feature when it's done. And
Yeah,
don't be a stranger.
I
Keep
won't.
making movies. You're onto something. And it's like really nice direction. So
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's talk again soon.
All right. Bye.